he was barely a part of the team fight.
Yeah, look, he wasn't exactly playing a team fight carry, but it doesn't matter. Into the draft now with
But you're not playing a team fight carry as a Zir.
Yes. We'll see where the split push carry player, I suppose, of YSKM, who has just met his match in his own teammate of solo kill, goes towards in this one, because the Jax has been banned away from him. The Fiora is something that he's picked for himself. Can't be too surprised if that's the direction he chooses to go again.
We are finally seeing, we've been asking for this all tournament long so far, in day 1, day 2 here. Will we see side selection swaps from game to game in the series? Macau China opted for the red side. They wanted this so they can get that counter pick, and I'm so happy to see that. I've been asking for teams to do this.
Absolutely. Being on the red side, of course, especially if you are going to be playing these different champion selects and going for things that are more unexpected, the creativity that you have into a third pick bans or a fourth pick into a fifth pick with flex picks, there's plenty of options there for you, and of course very excited to see if that's where they choose to go again. While I love consistency as well, and I'd love to see a strategy from Macau that stays throughout the tournament, I'm also a fan of just throwing everything at your opponents, and I think red side lends itself way better to that strategy.
See the Vi Zeri banned away by Macau China, but Hong Kong China taking away a lot more of the meta style that we've been seeing a lot of. Yeah, the Triss ban. They might not have had the best showing in the last time, but maybe they're just like, you know, we don't want to deal with comfort on your side. Take away any power the dive threat that you could have from this bot lane.
I love it, just removing something that is even flexible for them as well, potentially, as YSKM gets to pick the first champion for his team. And suffice to say that all of these target bans from Team Hong Kong China opens up the Nico.
Finally, we get a Nico. It's been permanently banned all time. RDAG has yet to see Nico hit the rift, and we finally get that here.
Yumi's still going to be left open as well, with the choice of the Zeri and Lucian bans. There is still going to be a limited champion pool for AD carries. However, the Aphelios, the Jinx, etc. are still going to be there, so I don't think anyone's too perturbed by that one. So very easy to lock in the Yumi. And this time they will do something that I was mentioning earlier in the day, slamming a Sejuani in your first 3 instead of going for the AD carry.
Oh.
Yeah, it must be rough.
Big yawn there.
Hey man, not everything's going to be a Lee Sin support, alright?
I want everything to be a Lee Sin support. I see a Yumi Sejuani pick here for Macau China, and they are you talked about the playbook, they're changing it up again. They're turning the page to a new play and saying, we're going to go more defensive, more scaling, utilize a front attack composition, and with an Aphelios Melio on the other side, I really wonder what you want to take, especially because Tristana, Lucian, Zeri all have been banned away.
This is a fascinating pick as well if the Stylist gets locked in, which I believe it has been. So this is like, I see your Nico, I am now your Nico.
I am now Nico.
I don't have the camouflage, I won't become plants, but the massive impactful ultimate is still going to be.
It's also kind of weird when you think about it, because Nico can become Silas, and Silas now can steal Nico, so they are both like inceptioning each other.
Nico can become Silas, ulting as Nico, while Silas ults as Nico.
There you go.
Definitely is not something I hope to see.
Well, we're going to see it.
But Nico does enjoy being minions instead, which is very exciting for us to watch. But this Silas pick, right, is now that Nico has been changed with the ultimate to not have a shield as well, it does make her much more fragile, all things considered. You can go the Rod of Ages build, right? You can be more of a utility, tanky, like off-engage. But Silas has more kill threat on you, which is one of the reasons that I'm not against the Silas pick. However,
I like it.
You've got to get through your lane phase.
Yeah, I do like the Silas pick, but that's the big crux of it, is getting through the lane phase, because it is going to be a struggle. That's why when you look at how they play, it's going to be more on faith and the onus of dodging away from those routes that you can have. Now, as long as you dodge from that, then you can dive back in. But looking at the second part of bans, we've got to turn our attention here. Jungle Focus by Macau and China. I know the Twitch ban, and there's that Ezreal heavily targeting this bot lane.
Yeah, I was going to say the Ezreal pick makes sense, right? Press the attack Ezreal, having a Yumi to back you up. Just a poke lane.
What do you pick here? Varus?
Yeah, I guess it is just going to be the Varus. Is this going to be an on-hit Varus? I feel like it has to be.
I feel like it has to be, but that's got to struggle into a Nocturne and a Nico.
I think it's very clearly a weak side Varus Yumi right now, and geez, they've just locked in some banger champions.
Yeah, they have.
For Hong Kong, China. Jace can work because Sejuani exists, right? Passive stuns, you can be in melee form. There is a lot to digest here from both of these teams, and that draft just happen.
But I will say this draft is more typical. Even if they're not necessarily, it's not the most typical, it feels a lot more in line with what we're used to compared to the last one.
So the first thing for me, again, is where is the crowd control? Where is the team fighting? What does that look like? Nocturne being able to turn the lights off is going to be very invaluable for these team fights, right? Also, they're not going to swap again. C-Lane and Ho are switching up roles one more time.
One more
it seems
time
like
for us.
they've done a handshake backstage and say one game each.
Yeah, it also could be just who's more comfortable on what champion.
Yeah.
Could be that Ho's like, you know what, I'll play the Yuumi this time around.
Maybe just on principle, C-Lane refuses to play Yuumi.
Which I can respect the hell out of.
If that's true, I hope that's true. If it's not true,
we're making it true.
That's a narrative we're pushing.
It's now true. C-Line refuses to play Yuumi.
Yeah. He just dislikes Yuumi that much.
I do too.
So does 99% of the planet.
I have had an idea for a Yuumi rework for ages now.
Yeah.
That actually would make her fun, where it's about her empowering the more dash to people, and if she stays on a target for too long, she actually has diminishing returns.
Hot potato.
Yeah, I feel like there you go. That's how you fix Yuumi.
I mean, that's certainly a way to do it. I feel like interactivity with this mounting is
That's
going
what
to
I'm
be the
saying.
most important part, right?
You're just constantly jumping. That's when you actually have interactivity.
Or you make it so that when she's going to pounce back onto someone, she has to stop to count.
Oh, that would be nice.
Right? Like, there's actually a second of count time.
Make
instead of just
Blitzcrank and Nautilus
everywhere.
so much better.
Yes, exactly.
All right, but here we are, loading up onto the Rift for what potentially could be our final time of the day here for Day 2 of the Road to Asian Games 2022. In Macau, China, it is on you. You're down 0-1 in this series. You got to take this one, get us to a Game 3 as Hong Kong, China. They're one step away from getting those 2 coveted points.
Oh, hello. Straight into the Rift and straight into multiple members of Macau, China on the top side of the map. All 5 people strong going to be here.
Unfortunately, they find nada.
Yeah, nothing to be seen. Gwen
Nothing to be
just sitting
gained.
in the bush. Yeah, nothing to be gained. There is nothing there. There simply is nothing there. Just quickly as well, on the other side of the map, we were talking about drafts and compositions overall. We ended up discussing the Yuumi more because that is the way that it happens. The engage, the crowd control, the team fighting, what does it actually look like from Hong Kong, China? There is the Nocturne ult, but the Nico is going to be the crux of it. You've got Purple Weapon Aphelios, which is really good for skirmishing, and depending on how late the game goes, the optimal Aphelios weapons change. But early game team fighting, the Gravitum's going to be there. Gwen's just damage, right? Nocturne is generally just damage, but a small amount of utility that does exist. And the concept that I'm trying to push here is someone has to die on Macau, China for it to be a successful team fight.
Right.
That is really what they're after, the assassinations. The level 6 from the Nocturne potentially is going to be a very big factor as we've swapped sides of the Rift.
Looking at YSKM.
Looking at me, looking at you.
YSKM dashes out. Snip, snip. Stewie actually doing a pretty good job there. Not really taking too much. Actually got a good trade onto YSKM initially.
Yeah, East start, however, does mean that he's not going to have anything beyond that. Is quite simply just going to be stuck with that one for now. For level 2, it should be pretty simple for him to achieve, being a ranged champion in that top lane matchup. Ghost as well, going to be the standard summoner spell of choice for all Gwens in their top lane. We'll be able to run that one.
Well, I find Gwen infuriating because of how she can be invulnerable. For the most part, I actually like the champion design.
Yeah, I think that the untargetability is a serious issue for a lot of champions, a lot of matchups. Jace tries to hit a Gate Shock Blast straight through.
Yep.
Doesn't do anything whatsoever. Vision going to spot the Raptors being done. Show Kenny-chan there as well. Not going to be dodging the Raptor Vision. Nocturne definitely one of those champions that wants to do Raptors regardless because he does them so efficiently.
Yep. He just wants the power farm too. Get level 6, look for that gank. Well, NH, kind of the same, but you have a little bit more that you can do as the Sejuani, and I do like that they have essentially the double melee solo lanes. Even though Jace does have range to him, he can effectively set up a Sejuani when necessary. I think this is going to put a lot of pressure onto Team Hong Kong China because NH can look for these early ganks.
And he certainly is. Med in mid lane needs to be very respectful, but his bot lane is pushing in quite nicely, threatening, already close to getting a plate.
They're going to get a plate on the next wave.
And Faith really needs help, and NH is left.
Yeah,
so he's not going to get it
here. Yeah, you had to look for that play, and with with Faith so low and NH being like, yeah, I don't think I can fight this because I don't know where Kenny-chan is.
Yeah, they don't want a 2v2.
Yeah, you can't 2v2. And it's because they don't have that information. Look at this. Kenny-chan gets all this freedom. He wanted to set up a dive. I think they really want to look for that. But as a Nocturne this early into the game, that is more than ambition.
Yeah, tough to do, especially with all of the summoner spells that a Yuumi provides.
Yup.
Speaking of those summoner spells, Sea Lion opted towards the teleport down there. Is going to be going the lethality build as well because he has the Comet in his rune. That is his keystone of choice. So he's going to be all about that harass. Now what this also does mean is that Jace Varus are going to have a lot of DPS and poke before objectives and fights if they're in the same area. But Silas Sejuani, not exactly poke champion. So there is going to be this combo of like physical damage poke but magic damage all in and engage. So it'll be very interesting to watch them intersect essentially. Where do those fights happen? How does it happen? Can the Jason Varus get that poke off before a fight starts?
Well, that's the big thing. When you fall behind as that poke comp too, your poke not going to hurt. That's just the rule of League of Legends.
That is, generally a very active rule in League of Legends. Perhaps the caveat in this draft is there's no tanks, so you might still be okay. And cheap item build, so you can fall behind a little bit and still be able to be relatively strong and find that poke.
But you can only fall behind so much. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We still need to see something out of Macau, China here, and really looking at NH to make these early plays, especially before Kenny-chan can get to level 6 and mitigate any gank you try to set up.
What can be ganks for you starts to become counter ganks potentially. Is Zoe going to have a trade in top lane with YSKM, who again loves those carries. Just another carry added to the repertoire that he has played so far in the RDAG tournament.
I think he's played a different champion in every game, too.
I think you're right, yeah. Gwen mostly banned as well. A lot of 4-5 rotations.
Respectable if you're trying to go for a Scion, too.
And Jace also, I think this is the second time we've seen a Jace top lane in this tournament.
It is.
I was a big proponent of saying that Jace probably doesn't want to go top lane anymore.
It doesn't feel as good as it used to.
And I'm gonna
certain matchups, it's fine.
I'm gonna set the stakes for you very early, though. If I'm playing Jace and the enemy picks Nocturne, I ult F4. Like, that's how bad it feels to be dealing with Nocturne ganks as a Jace in a long lane.
Yeah.
And now you've got a Gwen that's going to run you down with Ghost. So just keep that in mind. That is a tough matchup to actually play out if you are Zoe, and is a pretty big difficulty to overcome.
NH was spotted out by Kenny-chan. Pathing through the mid lane. Full knowledge on that. This is by Kenny-chan. They are looking like they can set up a dive here in the bot lane. Especially because they have Pop Blossom for med, but instead, we'll go for the more typical thing of Dragon.
Just taking the free objective. It seems like, again, if it stays in a stable wave state, lane state, they're starting to find CS advantages just naturally in the 2v2. It really is a case of, like, Team China versus Team Hong Kong China. But Shu on the other foot here for Hong Kong China. That is happily farming in their 2v2, securing those objectives. Kenny-chan close to level 6 now as well. This blue buff, while he's on vision, may actually dodge that vision, depending on where
it's spotted out.
But it may not see him tick over to 6 after the camp, depending on where that ward is.
That is fair, but NH does do a little bit of a reconnaissance as well, take it away, the blue buff, understanding what's happening on the bottom side of the map. So at least it will be an active trade to trade, but with Kenny-chan getting level 6, that is more powerful than NH simply getting a blue.
Yeah, and they did not see him get it. He walked away. Is now here, is going to be spotted, however, so they know that he is 6 and the Yuumi has returned. So just going to be the recall, but is it just a recall? No, it's cancelled.
Cancelled. I took a lot of poke for that. But
also 2 plates.
But that's the bigger thing. Is like he just shows up. He stands there more to say, hey, let's get these plates for MM. Continue to get him out of control.
Look menacing.
Yeah, you do. You're a shadow. An evil shadow, too.
Yes, you are. You can turn the lights off at any point as well, which is terrifying for some.
Are you afraid of the dark?
No.
Neither am I.
After a horror movie, though, I'm terrified of everything.
Oh, see, no, I'm not. I'm the kind of person who goes to a horror movie and laughs.
Damn.
Yeah. Speaking of laughing right there,
that's a miss.
Completely dodging away from that.
A tragic one. Of course, hard to see Anika when she goes invisible.
Yep.
But took the shot, missed the shot, top lane fighting.
You should know me. Looking for that solo bolo onto Dewey underneath the dirt, and that's where first blood happens.
And that's without a Nocturne ultimate. Just consider how tough this can be. You respawn right now. Look at the wave that he's going to collect as well.
That's
very
a big
lucky
owie.
that YSKM could not freeze that wave. as Rift Herald to be secured. A big screech will confirm it for the whole map to be sure, but this game, if lanes continue to stay positive, look at the CS difference in mid. Bots managed to equalize quite well, but I think that's going to stretch out again. And Top's just got a solo kill.
In a long lane, you don't have flash, you don't have TP. You're walking back to lane. How gets flashed on, can't even get back. Pop Blossom flash on a Sea Lion as well. Macau, China, they're falling apart. Hong Kong, China looking great.
And if I was to suspect what happened there, it might have been a fire kick from Kai Wing that dismounted the Yuumi.
Well, we'll take a look at it after the solo kill.
Yeah, solo kill in top lane. You can see that Zoe has used that phase rush already, and YSKM's able to very nicely use the needlework to keep him close, right? Make him juke towards the terrain. So there was no point of safety. Get the stacks up, get the cooldowns back. And just like that, find the kill. It's Faith looking for a little bit of darkness, perhaps.
Hey, you know what? You can turn the lights off. I can turn the lights off.
No one can see.
How can I be afraid of the dark when you can't see either?
We're all just afraid here.
Afraid or just can't see. I mean, I'm the kind of person that's okay with turning the lights off when I go to the bathroom and just walk into the dark. I have like echolocation.
I don't understand that at all.
I don't know why I'm able to do that, but feels like Faith is also relying on a little bit of echolocation.
It's like a mediocre superpower. It's specifically for the bathroom.
And it is specifically for when I go to the bathroom at midnight. And
oh, this wave.
This wave is pretty fat, pushing back, and with Kenny Chan here, guess what? Dive, 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 and flashing too, with the fear on top, looking for the lost chapter, looking for a final chapter, putting the book down on a Sea Lion.
And Kenny Chan said there is absolutely no way that you are going to flash here, because if you use that, I've preempted it.
Yep.
And he flashes anyway. Gets under the turret, but they're re-engaging.
He turns off the lights. I told you he can do it. And he's looking for the kill, but Breath of Life, freeze life. No, he doesn't. There's a shutdown as Kenny Chan does survive. Same with Faith with the cat on his back at 8. You might be tanky, but not taking it up when so many members are on top of you. But Kenny Chan takes the turret shot, and Faith goes back in. Pop Blossom up in the air and down into the grave.
That is definitely some chains that I don't think Faith wanted to hit, but he threw them out and he found his mark and his aim was true, and Med just pop blossoms straight out of there goes the Silas. Another favorable team fight in the end for the team of Hong Kong, China. You watch this one more time, Kenny Chan just goes in, knows the flash is available from Varus, flashes and says, I dare you. He does, tries to get the fear away from everyone towards his own turret, but ultimately the damage is still there, as well as the range increase from this Milio coming in very clutch. They go for the re-engage themselves, and while they do end up getting MM, a crazy amount of damage gets put out, and the Breath of Life keeping him there to deal damage as efficiently as he possibly could. Almost locks down Faith, and you're thinking, okay, it's just NH, right? Like, this is still an okay trade in the end, but he goes back in and we're back.
Back. Moonlight Vigil, rooted. Sea Lion, you're not allowed away from your tower.
Yeah, you thought that was a wave that you could catch, perhaps. Look at where the wave is. He just tried to
I think he wanted a plate. You even wanted that. Just scraps of gold.
His greed was punished. Herald summoned as well. Bot lane. It was, what, 2,000 gold difference? Watch that. Watch that gold difference.
Bye-bye,
this game
tower.
blows completely open in favor of Hong Kong China.
They get the dragon on top of it as well. All this gold stacked up for MM. He's 3-1. Even looking at his build, has a BF sword. That is a greedy build, and you're able to get away with that because you're so far ahead.
He's building all the things at the same time. I think we actually saw this from him last game as well, straight into the BF sword first item.
And Sea Lion. Now, maybe I lied to you. You're not even allowed by your turrets anymore. Though, Ho does get one back in return because of the turret. You're a cat without anybody's back to jump on top of. You got to be careful. Especially with MM, looking for that play. There you go. Crawl back to your base.
Manages to survive if nothing else, but meanwhile the rest of his team unable to make any kind of cross-map trades. You can see them now moving back towards the middle lane, just quite simply making the best of the situation. Med puts in some damage, doesn't go for the ult or anything, doesn't get baited out. That's what they're after.
They're hoping for the committal there from Med. But that bot lane, well, yeah. Ho does live.
Dude, there's a teleport coming in onto Sea Lion.
Oh, Sea Lion. Okay.
Varus' bad day.
This is just, it's a bad day gone worse. He's like, can I get any farm? And YSKM is like, no, None of you are not allowed anything.
This is one of those deaths that you look at and you're like, I don't know why he even bothered.
Yeah.
Like, all I'm doing is dying. Just catch the wave, son. It's worth more at this point. 0-5-1 has his Ghost Blade, but tell you what, probably wishes that was a Radiant Virtue himself so that he could support his team.
Build up everyone else.
Yeah. That is such a rough day to be Sea Lion. There's also one of those situations, Magical, where the teleport comes back to bite you.
It does, because you're like, I got the CP, I can get back to lane faster, but that means I can die faster, and then cleanse is better. But he is on the other side as they look for the engage. Kenny Chan getting popped first with the pop blossom from Med, not really doing anything to Faith. Instead, Sea Lion would get the poke, but look at MM on the other side with a Gale Force. As Toy takes so much. Final chapter, not getting any root. MM getting free fire onto the backline. NH, Toy running away, but Sea Lion will do something, a little bit of utility there to stop the fight.
And when all is said and done, that is actually a very nice trade for Macau China because they get the kills, they get out before MM can get into the mix and actually look for the damage. So you take anything that you can at this point, even if it's just the one kill, even if it's a trade, even if you do end up losing people for it, a trade is a trade that you need to stay in this game.
Faith looking for his own trade against YSKM, but it's not going to be a 1-for-1 like you thought it was, YSKM. Because NH is on the other side, but you do have your tower to play around, and as when you can utilize that passive, utilize the E, but Snip does not save your life.
They're both dead, they're both dead.
Okay, only one executed. Only one execute.
Okay. Well, look, it is a shutdown effectively in I suppose, a 2-for-1. MM top.
MM top, and he's got Breath of Life to breathe life, as Zoe was not able to do too much.
Sea Lion's going to come in here. He's Ghost Bladed. My man's is feeling it.
But he doesn't have Chain of Corruption, so he's like, okay, maybe never mind.
He was feeling it, and then he looked at his cooldown. Ult and Flash there for the Varus now. An Imperial Mandate done as well for this Yuumi. We're watching another trade that took place in the bot lane. See how YSKM handles this, by which I mean Faith unfortunately missing 2 of those E's in a row. In these skirmishes, is just mashing cooldowns instead of really buying his time and waiting for it. Dodge out on the first part of that W, the second part rather. NH is just tanking. He's kind of accepted reality based on his positioning. I can't
believe that the Snip didn't actually clip him.
Yeah. Oh, we're going again.
Going again, and Med, nice knock up there, and Sea Lion, he has made into blubber there.
Look away for a second, one replay, back to action, and would you believe it, Sea Lion is still the one that goes down. The sacrifice of Macau China in this game. Flank angle here from the Gwen as well means they're going to be completely dissuaded, and the charge does not actually hit, which means another full health charge to come through.
They're probably going to be able to get the charge onto the inhibitor as well, because they took that down quickly. All 5 members of Team Hong Kong China are here, and NH has to dash away.
Got to deal with MM, they flash.
Nice flash, but MM still alive, and they didn't get the clone. They thought they got baited. They have to be careful, because look at YSKM with the needlework, with a poke onto MM, and Faith was not able to pick up the kill, because a nice soccer ball there knocks back Faith away from the carry.
He survives, he barely survives, but he does. The 200 gold bounty still stays there. MM could be basing right now, but he's throwing out those abilities, just keeping him humble, keeping him grounded. The 0-6-1 Varus has got to be hungry though.
No. You don't want anything as 0-6 Varus. At this point, you're worth more by not getting anything because you're worth less.
But he's hungry. But you know he's looking.
Yeah, he is. Because he is looking for Kenny Chan right now. They're chasing deep for this kill, and it is going to be Faith picking it up.
Successful kill means a successful Drake take here as well. Gwen is pushing top lane though throughout all of this, and this is kind of the tail of the tape, to be honest with you. Every single time we see a play from Macau China, you just take a second, look somewhere else. You're like, hang on a second, it's not worth it.
Yeah, because they're losing now. Top lane, another inhibitor, another turret gonna fall. But we get to take a look at this replay.
Good spell shield kicking that one off. Very nicely done. The preemptive flash again. It's starting to get pretty ridiculous how on timings they are. And the Nico ult comes through and they get themselves a very nice kill.
That's more gold. Team Hong Kong China feel pretty in control of this game. Even if Team Macau China are doing some things. They are looking for these players. They're not just giving up and letting the game end. But as you called out, Rusty, every time they make a play, what happens on the other side of the map? what are they losing for those plays? And every single time, it has been way too much.
Yeah, it's always been like a full turret as well, right? It's not someone just chipping away at structures to make it a trade. It's winning as Med. Oh, it's a fake recalling. Oh. One of the best things about the new Nico, by the way, for everyone watching as well, is if you actually enact a recall with the clone, it does the full duration.
It does.
So it baits people out. Like if you're playing mid, you pretend you're a jungler going to a bush on a ward and recall, they start getting real excited.
Thankfully, Macau China didn't get that baited. Everfrost was burned, but that's it. Not the worst. Not the best. Really, you're just hoping that you can find any pick, as Med is constantly pushing these lanes. Same with YSKM on the other side. Hitting on every cylinder.
It's one of the things that makes Nico so annoying to deal with as well, is that relentless push that she has from level 1 in the game. Throws abilities, you can't stand in the wave, she outpushes you, and then the gank setup, and then the team fighting. Kind of has everything in a single champion. And that's before the creativity that comes from this champion becoming anything else on Summoner's Rift.
I'm just waiting till they nerf some of that wave clear, and then you see on-hit Nico happen again.
I'm so for that.
That's what's going to happen. Nico is not going anywhere until they nerf everything of her. Right
Baron
now.
buff, actually, on the cards.
Yeah, I was about to say, that is something with red-white, too. You can burst this down really quickly, and Macau China, with how little control they have over their jungle, this is a great play from Hong Kong China. Force them into your hands.
Med is a ward right now, just to be clear, Med is a ward. The sweeper shows him as a ward.
It does. They have no idea. He's there, and guess who gets caught out? Instead, Juwani flashing away. The rest of the team, no, it's Elian. Why are you there?
Oh.
Pop Blossom pops him as well. And there goes the kitchen, and there goes the game for Macau China. As the play, it worked out. The ward fade of Nico. Make sure they get 3 kills, make it 4, because I didn't even realize that Joey died as well. So they can open up this base. And they got the minions, they got the timers, Rusty. This is going to be a 2-0 for Team Hong Kong China, unless N8, the tank, can pull off a miracle, and there ain't nothing left for you. There's no base, there's no game. Another 2-0 in the books here in the road to the Asian Games.
Nexus will fall, the attempt at the last moment from FaZe with the Nico